Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It's Week 15 in the NFL. We are talking with professional handicapper Joe Duffy from OffshoreInsiders.com, guy who's had a 30-year-long career of success in the handicapping industry. Just this week was quoted at ESPN.com as an authority on sports betting. And right now we're going to cover Miami, San Diego, another tough game, Joe Duffy. San Diego's a 2 or 2.5 point favorite, and Miami is a complete mess. Now, I admit in the beginning and the middle of the year, I took some losses, made some poor picks on Miami, but eventually I did learn my lesson, and I've been fading them recently. I faded them last week. I took the Giants. So I've learned my lesson with Miami and actually have won with them very recently, although overall in the year, I think I'm still down with Miami games. They've lost 6 out of their last 7 against the spread. And the Chargers, a ton of problems, but they're not too terrible. They're 2-2 ATS since their bye, but 3 of those were against very tough opponents, right? Twice against KC and once against Denver. Both these teams have a ton of problems. The question is, who's more likely to show up? My guess is that it would be San Diego. Miami seems like a mess, but, San Diego has a lot of, injury issues at receiver on the offensive line. Do they have enough? Do they have enough as much as it would take to be reliable as a bet here at -2 or 2.5? What do you think, Joe?
Well, remember, I was never a big fan of Miami, and we've done pretty well this year on our premium plays going for or against Miami because I went with them when they fired Philbin because they got the spike that was expected, and that was probably the 2 best games of the year after Philbin was fired. But if you eliminate those games, they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL, and I think from a handicapping standpoint, as I said, you can kind of eliminate those games because they got kind of that short-term boost that so many teams do after a coach was fired. But as you said, no team has had more injuries when it comes to just about every position than the Chargers have this year. So they're certainly downtrodden, to say the least. They've scored only 3 points in 3 of their last 4 games.
Those were against very strong defenses, though. I think that's a little bit forgivable. Not completely forgivable, but partially forgivable.
I do, but still, in the NFL, that's pretty darn bad.
Right.
So but at first glance, yeah, I would say the under would seem obvious, but we don't make picks on first glance. On the other hand, both of these quarterbacks, I think we talked about it. They're both talented, but they're so erratic. They're not good quarterbacks, but they're capable of being explosive. So I think both of these teams realize they're going to have to manufacture points, and they're not going to be able to slowly get the ball down the field. I think they're going to have to live off of the knockout punch, so to speak. I think both of these teams are going to come out aggressive because I think that's about the only way they're going to get offense. So therefore, all of a sudden, I don't like the under all that much because I think both these teams are going to have a very aggressive plan. But yeah, as you said, both of these teams are terrible. I always thought Miami was overrated, and San Diego's been downtrodden. So I think at least about 70% of the videos I give picks on, but this is going to be the second straight one that we recorded today. I'm going to say, Peter Loshak, you're going to have to make the pick on this one.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely leaning towards the under, and the Greek also appears to be. It's 45.5 or 46 market wide. The Greek is hanging 45, so that's a very solid lean to the under for the Greek. And I guess the question is just, I feel like as far as the head case comparison, the head case breakdown, the matchup here, San Diego definitely has the edge. The question is just, do they have the personnel to get it done? What would your take on that be?
Honestly, I'm not so sure that either one of these teams are where they want to be mentally. San Diego is, they've been ravaged. There's obviously plenty of rumors that that they're going to lose their coach after this year. So I don't know if either one of these teams are into this game mentally. And if anything, maybe both teams will try to rally around their coaches. Maybe not. Campbell, of course, is just an interim coach, and he's got a chance at winning the job, but he hasn't done much to do it. So I really don't think the intangibles point either way.
All right, Joe Duffy. I think for now I'm going to give a pick agreeing with the under that the Greek, the lean to the under that the Greek appears to have. They have 45, but the market-wide number is split 45.5 or 46. My pick is going to be on the under 46. What do you think about that, Joe? Is that too risky, or you think it's you can make a reasonable case for it?
No, if you're asking me for my strongest lean, I would say that. And as I said, the only reason it makes me nervous is because I do think that both of these teams realize that they're not going to, have these long sustained drives. I think both teams are going to have to take chances to create points, and that makes me a little nervous. But I'm speculating really on the game plans of both teams. But on paper, so to speak, without trying to speculate on the game plans, the under would seem to be the best of either the side or the total.
Yeah, and I think Miami, I think we might see a little bit more running from Miami than we have seen in general this year. The Lamar Miller has been, although he's reported to have an injury, it's not clear what his situation is, but we might see a little bit more of a run-heavy game plan from Miami than we have seen for most of the year. All right, these are tough games at the end of the year in the NFL. Joe Duffy, under 46 will be my pick. Joe Duffy is going to pass on this one, but of course, Joe Duffy has premium plays at his website every week, and this week you have a game of the year in the NFL going, right, Joe?
Game of the year in the NFL, I will give you, in recent years, I haven't given the specific parameters because I know there's a lot of people that got software, and I found out some handicappers were wisely stealing my angles, which I don't blame them. But this time, because it's a game of the year, I'm going to tell you the specific angle. It has never, ever, ever lost, at least going back, any database we have goes back to 1980. Tons of college football already up for the Bulls. Joe Duffy's picks at offshoreinsiders.com.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Peter.